See, here's the thing. I was really tempted to abandon the week system that we've been using in our PhD recaps because it's actually semester 2 right now. So I was thinking about doing like a semester by semester type of thing where I talk about it each week. And let's keep going with this idea where we'll segment it into semesters. It's less like a little bit more approachable for most folk. And it's a lot easier for me than just doing each week. Who would think that incrementally counting by one would be difficult? But here we are. If you're not aware, I am a PhD candidate at Charles Darwin University. And that's just me being funny. If you don't share my sense of humor, don't worry. It's all good. So guys, I'm going to be playing Elden Ring while talking through some of these bits and pieces that I've been looking at. Because in terms of actual updates, Elden Ring is the major update. And consequentially, that means that we have about, 120 hours or so to go on Kick until we reach our 2,000 hour streams here. Now, there's a few bits and pieces in terms of where we would go to stream next and stuff, but I'm not here to talk about that today. I just really want to talk a little bit about what we've been doing with Elden Ring and specify what's happening with the PhD writ large. So basically with the PhD, the only thing that I have to do is submit my confirmation of candidature project document, and that is, it's about 1,000 words shy of being at the maximum word count. And it probably could do with some updating with all the time that's passed and all the things that have happened. So as you guys knew, I wrote that document as supporting evidence for me to get a scholarship. And when the university chose to change their mind about giving me one, it was tumultuous, to say the least. And so in a brilliant act of effective deception, I've robbed myself of the opportunity to go to an elite university like the University of Melbourne or the University of Sydney. That's where I wanted to go, to work with the Games and Play Lab. But here I am, back in my hometown at one of Australia's youngest, smallest, and arguably dumbest universities. But alas, I'm not here to disparage the place. I am just here to tell you guys that I just got to submit that document, and I've already decided that due to the people who are involved in these processes that I'm going to attempt to simply submit a recording of my explanation of my research rather than see all these people face to face. I could see all these people face to face, but if I can avoid it, I will. Simply because I know that the process can work without it. And it's not like I need some kind of training in being an adult and talking in a formal, professional, and academic setting. I'm literally choosing to exercise my prerogative to a different process so as to not endure the presence of people who haven't been supporting me and chose to not support me. And I don't have to. There's literally no reason to go ahead and do that. So we're going to try to do that, and then following that we do a thing called ethics. Oh, that was neat. If you look in the bottom left-hand corner of this, you'll see my death count. And that's something that I will have to increment as I'm doing this. So what do I have to do with ethics? So this is actually something that a lot of folks don't do right, or at all, even though it's kind of like evidence somewhere in their research or during their process. Please bear in mind that PhDs, wherever you do them around the world, are are different, right? They're totally different experiences, and this is mine. So with ethics, basically, this is probably a meeting I would like to go to in person. I just have to submit another sort of project plan document outlining the kind of activities that I'll be doing and what the ethical implications are of it. Now, my sort of PhD ethics are pretty straightforward, really. Very straightforward. Because my methodology and stuff is very straightforward. I have basically maybe 3 to 4 different versions of my PhD and ways of approaching it, depending on resources, support, interest, opportunities, complexities, and depth. That's how experienced I am as a person in doing what I do, but I usually do it in different settings. Jeepers. I'm not doing very well at this fight while talking. First fight of the day, though. Now, the reason why you have to do ethics is because if you think that you're doing stuff in your PhD without ethical approval, at least in Australia, and at least according to the research training that they forced me to do, that work is not eligible for consideration in terms of you proving to the Australian government as well as to your university that you have done, it's like invalid, you know what I mean? Because you didn't get the approval to do that. Now, does that mean that all the stuff that I've been doing is invalid? The answer is no. It's just technically not approved yet, and it may not need or require any approval whatsoever, because it's seemingly, and it is, let's face it, very simple and a robustly accepted approach that is to get AV media of a phenomenon or activity and review and analyze it. It's really they do the same stuff with bird watching, people, but instead of watching a bird, you're watching a gamer kill this thing, because I'm Rivalgaz. Right. So once I do that, what does that really mean for the PhD? In my ideal world, I will start this entire process over again. What's that mean? Well, probably just get another 2,000 hours of footage and do it right. Maybe see if I can do what I've done in a more professional capacity rather than such an amateur looking capacity. The amateur looking capacity is intentional, people. That's the aesthetic that we go with for the stream, so that way it's relatable and approachable and all this kind of stuff, and it looks like a stream. When we were doing the Hikikomori stream, I literally had people come and tell me the way that I live was despicable, you know, and it's like, okay, my acting and my stream is working because people literally think that what they're looking at is real, right? You think that all these pedo hunters on Kick, you think all this stuff is really real? You think Ice Poseidon is really real? You think what's happening with Mr. Beast at the moment is fake? It's crazy, right? So there really isn't too much to report on the PhD front, other than the fact that I've been doing some readings and trying to stay industry relevant and up to date. These things take time to do, as well as continuing to prove my competency and ability in gaming. And just because we don't have the fudge, the approval at the very minute, does not mean that I can't be doing it. So say, for example, if I was going to be a musician, oh, fudge, or an actor. Let's just go with an actor, right? Or a director. And I was going to do a production. Now, does that mean that all my past productions that prove my ability to produce are invalid? and couldn't be considered for analysis as part of my PhD, or at the very least evidence of my ability to subsequently go and do my best production ever type of thing? And the answer is, of course, you're all good to go, mate. No problem at all. And that's kind of where I'm at. A big difference, though, is that I've been trying to share and stream my entire PhD life and process to sort of shed light on it and to rub it in our viewers' faces, like Howdy, who have to go to work every day, that it is indeed possible to live this video game lifestyle. You know, what they were preaching to us in the 90s and early 2000s is real. And you can actually get paid to do it. Every day is like Scary Movie, but with video games. But you know what kind of blows my mind is how there's a younger generation of gamers than us, right? In particular, like OTK. And how like they are just in love with all these millennial classics. It's actually really interesting to see. But I imagine they're all probably millennials too. I have no idea what their actual ages are. But they look young. Good on them. Not like Boomer Gaz. Right. So on the PhD update front is pretty simple and straightforward, but there are some bits and pieces that I do want to talk through. So I have some tabs here, and I apologize, guys. I'm not probably going to be able to read chat while I'm doing it. So look, the biggest thing at the minute that I think trumps all other news, including the assassination attempt and Biden stepping down, in my world at least, is that the IOC, and this is the headline, enters a new era with the creation of the Olympic Esports Games, the first games in 2025, and it will be held in Saudi Arabia, right? So if you've been following along in the world of esports, you would know that the Saudis put on the biggest esports thing ever, and everyone was hating on them for it. And I even had that commentary on the state of the trophy, because your winning trophy is actually assembled with the people's trophies you've bested, or something like that. You know, it was pretty savage. Right. So if you've been following me and my channel, then you would know that I did my Coursera cert, easy peasy one, but I still did it nonetheless, on esports, and in particular Olympic level esports. That's something that like I'm really proud of, even though it was easy and high school kids do it. I still think it's cool. I did it my own way. You know, high school kids cook as well, right? You know who else cooks? Michelin star folks too. Everybody cooks, guys. We just cook a little differently. So what this means is that think about how many PhDs are involved in helping Olympians win. Right? And now we're going to be moving forward with Olympian video gamers. And how many PhDs are there who understand how you get good at video games, why video games are, for want of a better term, get goodable in the first place, and someone who really understands, in at least in my own favorite terms, the science of your rival. I'm in a really good position, and Australia as a nation is a very competitive sporting nation. Not as competitive as the United States of America. Hello to all my American friends. Maybe I'll be joining you one day, considering how my country doesn't really want to invest in me and what we're doing in this space. Now, I'm not saying that Olympic esports are going to be like Elden Ring or Fortnite or whatever. It's not necessarily going to be like that. But this is a new, I'm going to say like divergence, but it's kind of like a fork in the road for augmented human-computer interactions, whereby like by using computers and these type of things and other ways of interacting, we are changing how we play at the highest levels. And maybe there will be games, kind of like what we see here with Elden Ring. Huge topic to go through. Huge topic. My opinion at the minute is that there's hardly a game out there that qualifies for a multitude of reasons, most of them moral and ethic. The rest of them business, and the last of them being a technical requirement for the fulfillment of an Olympic level sport. But there's going to be a lot of simulation of ordinary sports. Ordinary sports, that sounds terrible. But you know what I'm trying to say. VR fencing. Virtual reality on a equine simulator. Sounds bizarre. Funny way of saying riding a horse, Gaz. Okay, that's the first thing. Really huge news. But let's just see. I'll be a spectator on this one for now. I actually met someone who apparently is going to have some involvement in this by chance. Well, at least they know someone who's going to have some involvement in this by chance. The next thing I want to talk about is a game called Multiverses, right? So Multiverses, the developer of that game, Player First Games, has finally been acquired by Warner Brothers. So Warner Brothers paid Player First Games to make the Smash Brothers clone, and they made a very good game that works globally based on, I guess, a combination of their netcode and input buffering or whatever it is that they do. Complicated a way of saying how the game controls when you play it on the internet. So what does this mean for Multiverses and that game as a competitive game and the development of that game? Sadly, the online speculation is that it's just an opportunity to like foreclose and sell off all the assets and stuff and just really cooked right here, bruss. Just milk it. Fudge. Fudge, fudge, fudge. But I'm hoping that by maybe owning it, they will be able to not give them more money. That's probably not what they're looking at doing, but they're probably looking at it and going, for example, okay, let's just hypothetically say that Player First Games is spending 25 million or 20 million on XYZ. If we owned you, I already have 200 million of stuff. You guys just share that. Share that. The other guys will be fine. What's that? What's that mean? That means like office space, computers, and all this business stuff. And maybe, just maybe, Warner Brothers can like really start squeezing them to make a really good game. Just like how Warner Brothers makes. When they make good stuff, they make good stuff. And when they don't make good stuff, they're literally creating climate change. Okay, did I update the counter? I may have, but we'll just increment it just in case. The next thing that I've been following along on that I want to talk about is Netflix. Why Netflix? I would love to work for Netflix, says everybody ever. But do you guys know that Netflix actually has 80 games in development right now? And they have plans to, according to the news at least, release one title per month. My question is, will Netflix be streaming these games? Because apparently, like my favorite game, Hades, you can stream on Netflix. Crazy, right? So is that what Netflix is going to be doing? Or is it going to be, who knows, more traditional? Who knows? Jeepers, dude! Ah! Man, scuffed it. So that's really exciting. I have no idea what games they are or anything. And I know that kind of just seems like industry news, but more games means more games. And if there's one thing that I have expectations of Netflix about, is that your business, right, is like the custodian of stories. Because like you have all these movies and series and you're the teller of tales, you guys are. So if you guys are going to be releasing games where the stories absolutely suck, then I'm going to say, that's Netflix. That's Netflix. I'm not going to say any stupid stuff on wokeness or whatever. Netflix make good games, make co-op games, take advantage of the trend post-COVID. Do it before it's too late. Right. I also read a journal article from one of the few smarty pantsers at Charles Darwin University. I think they were a PhD candidate, but basically their work was on, and I'll just read you the title. I don't think I can do this fight. I'm going to come back. I'm just going to go exploring for a bit, guys. It's not that I can't do it or whatever. It's just more like, whilst I'm talking, I've got a preference to just explore, make it a little bit easier for myself. Right. So their work was on examining the strength of the association between problem gambling and gambling to escape, a systematic review and meta-analysis, right? One of the best things that you can do if you're a PhD candidate, in my opinion, do a meta-analysis or a systematic review. Should I do one of these? Here's the thing, when you're a PhD candidate, right? You need to spend the time to get experience. But I'm trying to be gamer, right? So that's why I'm gaming. Obviously I've got to go and read all the literature and stuff, but like, this person might spend 200 hours on this article. I'm spending 200 hours on Elden Ring. Got it? Why? Because I want to be an Elden Lord. I don't want to write something that's just going to be out of date in 2025. Now, that kind of just sounds mean, but like, their work was pretty impressive. That's why I'm talking about it. Because it inspired me to think, what if you did a similar thing, but with gaming? So instead of problem gambling, it's problem gaming. So I'll give you the title again. Instead of examining the strength of the association between problem gambling and gambling to escape, what if we looked at the literature and we asked the question, let us examine the strength of the association between problem gaming and gaming to escape, right? And basically what you're really asking is, are problem gamers gaming to escape? And if so, how much of that is the motivation or the driver of their behavior? Am I trying to escape? And if so, why would you escape into the world of Elden Ring? What is wrong with you? There's so many worlds you could escape to. You know? You literally could have a harem of bunny friends in Final Fantasy. Rip. Alright, Rivalgaz. Try to keep it together. You would think by now I would have mastered that descent. But alas, I have not. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. It kind of got the cogs turning there for me. Speaking in general about industry connections and so on, right? I always mention this dude. He works for Tencent, Amir Satvat on LinkedIn, one of the biggest voices, right? Not just to be, you know, like a bum kisser or whatever, but if you guys aren't aware and you are looking for work in video games, he's got a really fantastic Discord community and professional LinkedIn community. But part of what he's doing is that he kind of gives out community awards for folks in gaming who are just doing whatever it is that they do. And he kind of is attempting to do it in a way that just considers everything. So he just goes, oh, okay, you're doing that, or your reward is in that, rather than having like predefined categories. And I know there's strengths and weaknesses with either approach, but I just thought it was a really good story in terms of being able to add some positivity back into the gaming industry at the moment, which is effectively always experiencing periods of boom and bust. It's kind of gnarly. Also in this game, guys, I've got to look for a church apparently, and to get a howl emote. I actually have an idea about where I could go for that.
I'm surprised you found me in my
But I'm not going to go into it in too much depth because that's gaming talk. All right, let's talk about the next thing, which is if I can get it up.
I got my hands on them, eh?
It's not that one. I got a few different tabs. Okay, this is pretty much the last thing to talk about, right? And then we'll wrap it up. Oh, actually, subpar, I see what he said there. I do apologize. The Netflix controller, I am not ready. My mind didn't even go there. And my question is, a company like Netflix, how much money are they spending on R&D, right? I know they can afford me. I know I'm very expensive in general. Not that expensive, not as expensive as like a partnered lawyer, but like, you get what you pay for, obviously, and I would love to know what it is that they're doing. Look at this thrusting sword, interesting. Astrologer hood. I'm kind of tempted just to wear that hood, but I can't afford it. Yeah, so the last thing I want to talk about is Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft, right? Because, I'm sorry guys, if you hear some banging and clattering or, for want of a better term, sound effects going on in the background, I do have all the doors and windows open at the moment because it is quite hot. And even though it's meant to be the dry season, we got a shower of rain last night. Wild, right? So if you hear something going on back there, I do apologize. Right. So basically, if you are not up to date on the Ubisoft new Assassin's Creed, this is recorded in 2024 before the Japanese Assassin's Creed game has come out. The hoo-ha basically is about, there's not a easy or pleasant way of saying it because, well, it wouldn't be hoo-ha, right? So I just have to say it and then we'll unpack it. So the argument being presented at the minute is that Ubisoft is effectively acting with this game. They're acting woke and doing some historical revisionism, right? So what does that mean? It means to say that they made a Japanese-inspired Assassin's Creed whereby the main character is a samurai, but the samurai is like black or African American or African or something, right? It's something, and the internet erupted because apparently, historically, there weren't really black samurai. And that was only the tip of the iceberg, apparently, because it is alleged on the internet that folks have been updating like Wikipedia to have this kind of game decision reflected as a historical accuracy. And this is something that's really interesting because upon a very cursory examination, and I just saw Subpar's comment there, a very cursory Google, what I found was that there is they could be a Japanese national, but they kind of just look like an American dude who works in a Japanese university, and this Black Samurai is an idea of theirs based on the research that they've been conducting in Japan. And Japanese netizens say that there was a recorded person of color with the samurai, but they were like a caddy or a bodyguard. They kind of just like helped out weren't necessarily a samurai who could be promoted to shogun type of thing. However, though, that kind of seems like it sounds really bad. Where's all the criticism and stuff coming from? Actually, most of the criticism and stuff, in my opinion, seems to be coming from just vapid trolls on the internet. When I go to Japanese Twitter and I look deeper, many of the criticisms actually come from Ubisoft's development processes and lack of scrutiny and fact-checking for authenticity. So kind of what does that mean? The equivalent would be if Ubisoft was saying that the California roll was like traditional Japanese food. If that makes sense. Have I done this? I think I have. If it's that color, that means I've done it, haven't I? Yeah. But I don't really remember it. I'll go in here. So, basically, it was things like everything from like AI generated imagery and stuff to, oh no, I haven't versed this person, to things that were like Japanese but are actually Chinese, or vice versa. People were just like confused by it. And then apparently there's like imagery and stuff that's come from like manga or UNESCO World Heritage sites and they haven't been properly credited. Things like this. What a silly enemy. I'm way too strong for this fight. And the reason why I bring it up is because what's a company like Ubisoft to do? Because you can't like babysit every... Whoa! Killed me in one blow. That is dead. That's dead obvious that was gonna happen. Flipping Elden Ring. So like, why do I bring these topics up in particular? Right? Is it because I'm on kick right now and I'm trying to like stir the pot, add fire, fuel to the fire? The answer is nah. It's just that, quite literally, telling, at least as far as I'm concerned, in like elite gaming and performance and stuff, it's like, my view is that every game can be played potentially at an elite level. Or you could just have an elite gamer who would play any game type of thing. It's kind of like how you can have an elite swimmer like Michael Phelps. He can swim in any pool, right? You could get him swimming in a pond or winning gold medals, one or the other. So I just found all of that like very interesting because in terms of themes, eliteness is like a theme in Japanese culture, and I'm interested in like basically all things elite, not to be an elitist, but just some of the things that I was arguing was like, you can't really have, can you have, sorry, an elite game, or can you be an elite gamer or something when elite themes aren't even present? So, yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about it and my PhD update this week. My supervisors and stuff are all back. Apparently they went to Bali and had a wonderful time, which is sick. Let's talk about the America trip while it's on my mind. So originally we were going to go to America because we were invited to Georgetown University for a visit, and there was the opportunity to go to the University of Texas. and visit their Australian Studies Centre too. Right, this was just all pretty basic dealings and stuff. And it was a big reason, motivation to go. Did this person stim? Weren't they at half health? They have an attack you need to interrupt? Anyway. As much as I want to say that's still happening, in the past we applied for a few different other things, right? We're always looking for a come up. We're always looking for opportunities, guys. So some things look like they might be happening. I can't reveal what they are yet. And if they do happen, it means that we have to, well, do those things. And I can't reveal what they are just yet. Maybe later. But I'm super excited. So I don't really know what's happening with the trip because we have to get all of this done. And apparently we're going to be finding out in greater detail at least in the next couple of weeks, which is huge. Because then we'll have a bit more clarity if we're going this year or if I have to postpone until next year or whatever. That's just on the America trip. There's some other kind of developments, I suppose, that I could share, but they're not really related to my Elite Gaming research. So I don't know if I need to bring them up or not. But that's pretty much everything that's on my mind at the minute with the PhD. It's all working out. Oh, we got a new Dean of Graduate Studies as well. So before, right, my reference to join the program was from the Dean of Graduate Studies, who went on to get a new role at a different university, University of Wollongong. Look up Wollongong, it's beautiful, right? So he went on to go there and they gave me a reference to come here. And I was going to study under the Dean of Graduate Studies that replaced him, Professor Tara Brabazon, who was Australia's preeminent and one of the world's leading experts in play studies, so how we play, as well as one of the leading experts in what's it called? Artifact exegesis theses. So the type of project that I'm attempting to do, which is to make an artifact and then do a reading of it and all this kind of stuff, right? But it didn't work out, and that's all good. That's all good. No hate, nothing. I'm over it. But someone else internally replaced them. I am not going to be working with them. They did not give me a good impression. And in fact, that person they haven't actually given me anything to like at all. So I feel like I'm entitled within my own opinion and within my own intellectual assessment to be that person, not to be rude to you, mate, but you do your job, I do my job. I don't necessarily need to be your friend or professionally network with you or do anything like that to revolutionize the experience of PhD students here. I don't have to do anything like that. I wanted to do that stuff with the other person, not with you. Don't like you. You got to give me a reason to like you. You've already said no to me now twice. Basically single-handedly responsible for me not getting scholarship as far as I'm concerned. No hate. But it's just quite literally saying, let's just say you rock up and you're going to go get McDonald's at a drive-thru, and it's one of these kind of McDonald's or drive-thrus that have 2 lanes, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go in the right lane. I ain't going in the left lane. Nothing wrong with the left lane. I've just got my order wrong twice there. It's kind of like that, right? I believe with people, managing and leading people and stuff, you got to give people the chances, guys. You got to give people their chances. Especially if they can do something for you, especially if you can do something for them. And I know I can do a lot, but I'm really privileged that my university doesn't ask me to do a lot. But I'm also really bored. But that's okay. And when I say I'm really bored, I mean I can't do exactly what I set out to do and what I wanted to do, sad noises. I'm gonna keep... I think I was just up there. Is that thing where you get the map? Is that the trick? So yeah, that happened. We might be going somewhere. I was originally planning to go to Canberra in September, I think. I think it's in September when that conference is on. But it doesn't look like it's... Oh, snap. Doesn't look like that's going to happen. For me, it could. But because other things came through, right, looks like maybe I might be going somewhere else. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. But yeah, now that I've started talking about all the places where I could be going or might be going, my heart just gets sad about all the places that I'm not going to be going that I was planning on going because of our funding situation. But I will replace those funds. I will figure out a way forward to do what we need to do. There's a stake here. You reckon there's something in these petrified ruins? Look at the Erd tree. Pretty. That's what it is, right? It's called the Erd tree? Elder tree? Who knows? But yeah, this is Elden Lord Rivalgaz. I'm going to sign out for today, guys. It's the end of my PhD recap. So the bottom line is that things are really good. Things are really easy at the minute. I just got to work along with my staying up to date on everything, doing my administration so that way we can lock in the project this year, and that's all going to happen this year. And if I have not said so already, I would be remiss if I did not say so, but I got to continue to work on my formal literature review, which will be about 10,000 words. I've got about 150 references already, but I think based on all the work that we did in that first semester within the first 15 weeks, I have a lot of other sort of knowledge domains and thought, the outcomes of thought exercises like pointed questions for myself to go and investigate. So basically like sub questions. That's really exciting for me. I'm really, really excited. But yeah, I'm going to keep going with my quest to beat Elden Ring before my time is up on Kick, because we beat Ghost of Tsushima and amazing game, and Red Dead 2. Also an amazing game, slow as heck at the start though. And now we're going to do this, and then I guess, well, Kai just went and did not only these games, but Chain Together, so we're going to have to do Chain Together at some point. But that will probably be later, once we find out where we're going to be streaming next, right? Because I don't think I'll be streaming on Kick after the 2000, and don't want to go into talking about where we're looking at next, but I have some ideas, right? I have some ideas, but I'll keep you posted. You will find out about that. So yeah, I'm going. Stood up for no reason. The mouse is right here.